Good evening and a warm welcome to Wednesday's edition of the State of Business on Art Television. I'm Nishani Pigara. A look at the headlines first. Annual General Meeting of National Chamber of Commerce held under the patronage of Prime Minister. Sri Lanka-Singapore Business Forum held in Colombo today. In tonight's main story, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the free trade agreement with Singapore, the first in 15 years, will lead local enterprises to the global market. Speaking further at the 59th Annual General Meeting of the National Chamber of Commerce, the Prime Minister noted that in order to strengthen the country's economy, state visitors and business delegations from Singapore, Indonesia and Japan are scheduled to visit Sri Lanka.
We signed the free trade agreement with Singapore. The first one we signed in about 15 years. And I hope it will lead the way to others. Because as the global economy expands, our markets have to expand. Actually, we did discuss about the SME sector in Singapore, how we can make use of the R&D facilities. So there's a lot of scope in this agreement. It will lead to investment seminars. I'll be taking part in investment seminar in Singapore by end of February. Other investment promotion efforts and also promotion in tourism. We have the Indonesian president. There is another business delegation that will come along with him. And at the same time, we are having a delegation of about 100 Japanese investors.
Speaking further, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe noted that a memorandum of understanding will be signed with the Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. According to the Prime Minister, a decision was made to start a new development finance bank in which the government will be a stakeholder.
Now we are signing a MOU where Four Seasons will come and do a joint venture with the Bank of Ceylon for the original Taprobane Hotel, original GOH Hotel. That is the present GOH Hotel and the Bank of Ceylon building, which was also a part of the original GOH Hotel. The banquet hall, which is in the Bank of Ceylon part, is one of the largest. And they are thrown in a vault also. Another building there, the police have agreed to release for a big internal car park. That is the beginning. Do you know that we have about another 10 heritage buildings in Fort? We want to give one out so that we could up the prices before we give the others out. Just imagine that whole area with boutique hotels and other hotels, 10 hotels there. Look at the IT industry today. We are doing well. We should do better. So we have the skills. We are now decided to start a new development finance bank. And the government will be a stakeholder. We are asking all the banks to take part. But if all the stakeholder banks will run the branches, this will only be a head office and a fund, which should be given to the branches. So if you want to be a part, come and be a stakeholder. So that's one. Secondly, we are discussing how we can get more bank credit into the small and medium sector. That's a big problem. If all the banks, they say we are lending, but they give it to people who anyway have money and who should be raising additional money in the stock exchange.
Time for us to take a short break. Do stay with us for more news when we come back. Welcome back. You're watching The State of Business. The Sri Lanka-Singapore Business Forum, organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce in association with the Sri Lanka-Singapore Business Council, was held in Colombo today. The forum was graced by the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, Malik Samaravikrama, Singapore Minister of Trade and Industry, S. Iswaran, economists, entrepreneurs and high-powered business delegates from Singapore. During the forum, 3 Singapore companies sealed deals with Sri Lankan partners with the signing of 4 agreements for new projects across food, agriculture, hospitality and infrastructure. Speaking at the forum, the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, Malik Samaravikrama, highlighted the important policies implemented by the government to make Sri Lanka a formidable player in the Asian region.
The focus of our government is to shift the economic growth model from one that was heavily dependent on debt-fueled public infrastructure spending to growth driven more by private enterprises, exports and foreign direct investment. Attracting foreign investment is a key priority for our country right now, and this is where a lot of our policy initiatives are being undertaken. The Board of Investment is now reorienting itself to become much more responsive to investors' needs, and it is headed by private sector leaders with a track record of international business experience. The approvals and facilitation process for foreign investors is now more streamlined, with decisions being taken quicker and more transparently than before. We are also committed to improving the ease of doing business. We have set up 10 task force, and by next year, I'm sure you will see the results. To leverage our location and expand market access, we are signing a number of trade agreements with other countries. In addition to the agreement with Singapore, we will soon finalize, hopefully, FTAs with India and China. We also recently regained GSP Plus trade concessions to the European Union and have an ongoing trade and investment framework agreement with the United States and Australia. We also hope to begin negotiations for FTA with Malaysia and Thailand. We also hope to set up 3 other industrial zones this year, including one in partnership with Rojana Corporation of Thailand. And we invite Singaporean firms to invest in these zones and do business here to access the South Asian region and beyond. On the exports front, we are launching a new national export strategy next month with a focus on competitiveness and product diversification. We are being assisted by IE Singapore to restructure the Export Development Board. The aim is to build more and more export brands from Sri Lanka, ranging from high value and high quality food and beverages to leisure boats, IT services, and electronic components. A new national innovation and entrepreneurship strategy is being launched soon, which will have programs to support technology upgrading, startups, and collaborative innovation. We are fully aware that without a focus on these areas, we cannot go from middle income to high income, just like what Singapore did.
Meanwhile, speaking at the Business Forum, the Singaporean Minister for Trade and Industry, S. Iswaran, pointed out that bilateral trade between Sri Lanka and Singapore had increased by more than 25% to 300 billion rupees from 2016 to 2017. Speaking further, Iswaran stated that Sri Lanka has been an attractive market for Singapore's small and medium-sized enterprises.
Already, we are seeing significant momentum in our bilateral economic ties. From 2016 to 2017, bilateral trade between Sri Lanka and Singapore increased by more than 25% to 300 billion Sri Lankan rupees. Our bilateral trade in services and foreign direct investments also show an upward trend. And we expect this momentum to continue, and we're seeing encouraging signs of it as more Singapore companies explore opportunities in Sri Lanka's growth sectors, such as in hospitality, in consumer goods and FMCG areas, aquaculture and infrastructure. Sri Lanka is also an attractive market for Singapore's small and medium-sized enterprises. And in fact, this, I think, is a particularly noteworthy fact, because that the larger companies come to these markets is perhaps something that we would expect or anticipate. But for the SMEs to come forward, I think it is significant because it means that they are comfortable, they see opportunity, and they think they can do business here.
In more news tonight, the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour was declared open today by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe for public viewing. The fourth FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour arrived in Sri Lanka last morning, and the trophy was officially handed over to the President Maithripala Sirisena in Colombo yesterday. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola began its journey from Moscow in September 2017. Sri Lanka is the first stop in the international leg of the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour. The arrival and viewing of the FIFA World Cup Trophy in Sri Lanka is hosted by Coca-Cola Sri Lanka in partnership with the Football Federation of Sri Lanka, with the support and guidance from the Ministry of Sports. The trophy was displayed in Sri Lanka till this evening and was displayed to more than 1,500 fans, providing the opportunity to the public to view the coveted trophy in person. Let's have a look at how the stocks performed today after this short break. Welcome back to the show. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All Share Price Index gained 22.72 points to close at 6,440.77, and the S&P SL 20 gained 18.58 points to close at 3,745.24. Turnover was 453.2 million rupees and 12 million shares were traded. And now let's take a look at the day's foreign exchange rates. And that brings the show to a close for today. Do join us again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thank you for joining us. Good night.